Hey guys. First there was an error, so I had to look like, what? What is the error here taking place? Hi everyone, how are we doing? I'm just looking down because I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you guys can hear me and make sure you can hear all this good stuff that I'm about to drop. I'm checking inside of my group to make sure that you can also see me live in my group. Okay. Okay, good. Awesome, 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 awesome. So we're good to go there. We are good to go there. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to our Monday night. Every Monday night, we go live inside of our Facebook group. Our group is for insurance agent and financial professionals who are looking to build their audience, increase their credibility, and create cash flow. So, if this is your first time catching me live, it's your girl, Sherry Summers, and I am super excited about tonight's training. Every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live inside of the group and we bring to you free practical training that you can use to, again, build your audience, build your credibility, and create cash flow. Those are the three things inside of our group that we focus on. But tonight is a special night because I have a guest speaker with me. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this guest speaker in is because in the space that I'm in, in the space that I'm in, I have, if y'all are keeping up with me, I have been traveling and speaking and doing all sorts of stuff. And what's the best way to build your audience is to be able to get book to speak, right? Book more stages. So you guys got my email, you guys got my DMs, you guys got the information that Dr. Laura Lewis is going to come in here and teach you. If you're looking to figure out how do I get more clients? How do I get more, how do I become findable, right? Talk about that a lot inside my group. Inside the financial space, we are the expert, but I think sometimes our challenges, not enough people know we exist. So one way we use the power of stage to be able, we use the power of stage to be able to get more eyeballs on our products, on our services. So the people who wants our service, want a product, can find us. So I'm going to bring in the beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis, and she's going to tell us how some gems. Honey, when she start talking, go ahead and grab your Diva notebook and your diamond pen because when she start talking to you about how to get booked on stage, baby, I mean, she don't hold back anything. She let everything rip and tells all the gems. So that's why I wanted to bring her in here. And if you're not in the Facebook group and you're streaming in from YouTube or you're streaming in from our personal page, make sure you go to joinsherry.com. It's for you to be able to go to our group. Again, that's joinsherry.com. That is our Facebook group. So make sure you go there to join to be inside of our group if you're not in there. But I'm streaming from YouTube, Facebook, and my personal page. So before we begin, go ahead and give me a 1 in the chat to make sure that you can hear me. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do. Because when Dr. Laura Lewis started talking, we want to be able to gear our conversation towards your industry. So as you come in, go ahead and tell us who you are. Tell us what you do so we can be able to kind of talk directly to your business of how your business can be able to get booked on social media. Also, because we're on StreamYard, this is a great platform. I like to tell you the little gems that I'm using. Make sure you commit to a StreamYard set so we can see your name so you don't show up as Facebook user. Because when you show up as Facebook user, we don't get your name and we want to be able to showcase what you're saying. All right. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring the beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis up here to this StreamYard and to host with me. Hey, Dr. Laura, how are you doing today?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Hey, Sylvia.
I love it. Sylvia is amazing. She rocks. As you come in again, do exactly what Sylvia just did. She tell us who she was. She tell us what industry she's in because we have the beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis who is amazing at getting paid to speak, book on stage. And my agents and my clients and my people who are in the financial space, who my insurance brokers, my tax pros, y'all are always asking me about getting booked to pay to speak. So you do not want to miss this gem that we're getting ready to drop. So, Dr. Lori, can you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. So, my name is Dr. Laura Lewis. I'm a psychologist and I've been doing therapy for just over 18 years now. And so I started out like doing counseling, and then it got to a point where my therapy practice was like booked solid. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to continue to be able to help people, serve people. But how do I do it if I can't take on more one on one clients? And so that's when I turned to speaking. And I love speaking. It's something about like the energy of being on stage that is just electrifying. So I've been speaking for just over 10 years, like professionally, and I've done just over 1,000 speaking engagements. And so I teach other people how to expand their business, build more profit through speaking.
Okay, wow. You just said over 1,000 speaking engagement. Now listen, I have you and I know we've been talking about offline. You and I've been always talking about traveling. And I'm like, my wedding is coming up. I'm like, right after my wedding, I have another thing that's going on. How are you keeping up with so many different? Because I mean, it's sometimes it weigh me out. I feel like I just have a suitcase just to get back on the plane. So how so how are you balancing and how are you doing that with your practice as a therapist for couples? How are you balancing all that with your speaking engagement?
Well, when the pandemic happened, like I thought like my therapy practice was gonna take a nosedive. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we're not in person anymore. What's gonna happen to my therapy practice? And it actually ended up expanding. It expanded so much that I was like, oh my goodness, I need to hire more people. And so I ended up hiring more therapists, and we're all black therapy agency. And so that really made a huge difference is hiring. So for those of you who are like you're feeling stretched, you're feeling like, "Oh my goodness, like where how do I manage it all?" I want you to definitely consider hiring because that makes a big difference.
Oh wow! Matter of fact, that's one. I think one of our training we have coming up in a week is all about how to hire properly. Because and you touch on the gym because before you go out there in the industry and talk about, because one of the things I teach my clients to do is to build their audience, and what a
Mhm.
better way than to get booked to speak on stage. But I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest thing is when I have a group called Joyful Tribe Academy and
Okay.
Joyful Tribe Builder Academy. And inside of that group, we talk about getting your back office set up first before
Yeah.
you hit the stage. Because what happened when people start coming to you and you don't have your funnels and things set up, or you don't have structure in your business to be able
Yeah.
to be the face of your business, it can be overwhelming. So
Hmm.
even with my clients, sometimes I'm having their onboarding calls, and
Yeah.
on that onboarding calls, I'm realizing, hold up, before you start building your audience, let's make sure that you have your back end set up. Because if you're not together, there, all that work you did to build the audience, it'll just it'll just go away. So tell me, Dr. Loris, what's the benefit of being able to speak on stage? What are some benefits?
So for me, I love to travel, y'all. Like traveling is my thing. It is my happy place. Like it just gives me so much joy. So I remember this must have been like maybe 3 years ago. I was like, Mom, I want to go to Paris and I want you to come to Paris with me. And so I had been to Paris maybe 3 times before this moment, but this was a pivotal moment because my mom came. And so she's getting out of the car, and we're looking at the Eiffel Tower, and she starts to cry. And I'm like, Mama, why are you crying? I love my mama. She is like my whole heart. And so she was like, I never thought that I would see it like in person. I saw the Eiffel Tower on television. She had told me like she had saw it on like videos, and she had seen it but not in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she saw it in person, she started to cry. And that is my why. My why is not like just for experiences for me. I've gone to over 30 countries. I love it, but it's for, my family. It's for the people in my life that like if I didn't step out, like they wouldn't have the path. So it's to do what I love with the people that I love.
Oh wow. You raise a good point because I was talking to my team this morning, and one of the things I was saying with my team, I said to them, I said, listen, I said, what I learned really quick and really fast in this business, especially having a business, when you really get good in your skills, or when you really focus on growing your business, which is what you're literally just said about your mom. There's so many people, there's so many, if you just focus on being successful in your business, the the overflow of that success falls over into other places like your
Yeah.
mom and your mom. I mean, we all have that story. I have the story of, I have so many people that are flying to Jamaica for my wedding. Like that's unheard of. Like it just when it just crazy because, but being able to focus in one area, which is your business, gives you the ability of abundance and prosperity in other areas. So I would tell people, Dr. Laura, I would say, you want a car, focus on your business. Your business will give you that car. You want a house, focus on your business. Your business will give that house. So sometimes we feel like, I gotta buy a car, I gotta buy a house, I gotta grow my business. No, you don't. You just need to focus in one area, and that area, like you will open. Your gifts will make room for you. So I hear
Yeah.
you talking about your mom, and I'm like, I had the same story. I remember when my mom had her 60th birthday, and I took her on a cruise for the first time,
Mm.
for her birthday. And it felt good being able to do that. And so all of that stuff is, yes, you get in business so you can help people, but focusing on your business and make it become the best that it can be, it also reap the benefits for other people to get the overflow for it. So just hearing your mom's story just kind of like set the stage. So that's one benefit. What is another benefit that you would say being able to speak on stage do for you, your business?
So when you are in business, you need prospects. Like you need to always be developing like prospects and leads. And when you're on stage, like you're in a room full of prospects
Prospect.
and leads and people who need your products and services. And so maybe you've written a book, or like maybe you have like some service that you provide. Well, when you're on stage, you want to always have like some kind of lead magnet so you can generate like prospects and email contacts and phone numbers, so that you can develop a relationship with the people that you are called to serve. And then the other benefit is the financial benefit, right? Like getting paid to speak. I remember when I first got my first check to get to speak, I was like, I can't believe they paid me to do that. Like I'd talk about this stuff all day, like for free. And so when I got paid to do it, I was just shocked. So I think that is the one, that is another thing that is a huge benefit, is knowing that your gifts will make room for you, and you have a message inside of you. You guys are connected to share. I know you have a message that is inside of you that can unlock things for other people and transform other people's lives, and you can get paid to do it. I don't think that I think because you do good work, you will be compensated well for what you do. And sometimes you just need to put a price tag on it and say like, hey, this is what I do, I'm good at it, and yeah, you're gonna write a check for it.
You know what? You just said a good point, because for a long time, the thing that came natural to people, they were afraid to charge for. Like they may
Yeah.
know taxes inside and out. They may know how to write life insurance policy. So they're like, what stage can I get on? Because my clients are usually in the financial space. So when they hear you say something about getting paid to speak, they're like, well, who's going to book me to talk about taxes, or who's going to book me to talk about insurance? Because I already know all the questions in their head. It's good for you, Dr. Laura. You got the DR in front of your name. It's good for you, Sherry, because your energy is always on 10. But what about me? I'm very shy. I'm an introvert. I have not been able to connect the dot with what my expertise is to be able to speak. Can you help them connect the dots? Because we always look for things like it's good for that person, but
Hmm.
not for me. So can we paint a picture for our financial professionals, especially teaching them how to use their expertise in the financial space, how they can not only get book, we already know they can generate leads, but also
Hmm.
being able to tie it together.
Hmm. So there are certain places that actually write checks for speakers. Like all places don't write checks for speakers. So I don't want you to waste your time pitching places that don't actually write checks to speakers. So let me just give you the inside scoop on the places that actually pay speakers. Colleges pay speakers. Corporations pay speakers, associations, these are places that write checks on an ongoing basis. Churches write checks for speakers. So you have something, you have a message that is like tax related, you have a message that is like in the financial services. I have a client right now who she is in financial services, and we literally just met today, and we were talking about her messaging to pitch to speak, and we were like doing, like, I help my clients with market research for associations that are going to write them checks to speak. So I think the first thing is to know that yes, it exists, and you can get paid in your industry right now for this. And those are some of the main places that will pay you to speak. Hey, Felicia.
Hey, Felicia. Y'all, if you're just joining me, we are with the beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis. She is teaching us how to get book more stages, how to get paid to speak. If you are in any space of that matter, we really want you to understand that you have a gift that you need to tap into, and there are people will pay you for that gift. And she's sharing all the gems and all the nuggets. So if you're just joining us, go ahead right now. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do, and tell us if we had to book you right now to speak on a stage, what would be the one topic that you know beyond a shadow of doubt you would speak on? Go ahead right now inside of the chat. Tell us what is the one topic that you know beyond a shadow of doubt, you know, like the back of your hands, and you will know that you want to speak on. Go ahead and put that in the comments right now. I hear you said churches will
Mm-hmm.
pay you to speak, and colleges will pay you to speak. That's interesting because I never even thought of that. Before, because I know I'm all, even in my space there's different things that I do. There's some of my churches that I will do speaking engagement for free, right? Sometimes I do the morning announcement at my church, and here and there. So my question for you is, how does that conversation happen, right? Because I'm sure lots of people in here has probably been booked on stage before, but a conversation of where's the dollars, right? Like, how do we went from, hey, are you open to come work with us, to, hey, can you, what are some criterias that we need to be asking when someone asks us to show up to speak? What else, can you drop some gems on that in that space?
Yes. So this is a question that I get asked so often. So many people are like, okay, but how do I get paid to do it? Like, how do I have that conversation? And that's something that I'll definitely be going into depth about at the Couch to Podium conference. But I'll just kind of give you a couple things at a high level. Is one, you need to show up like your brand should be paid to speak. So have a video reel. Like, people who are writing checks for you to speak, they want to hear you speak. So like, even if like you have done some free speaking engagements in the past, like ask them for a video, like, hey, can I get a video of that talk that I did? Or when you're in the process of negotiating, put that in the contract. Like, I need the video for my footage when I was on stage, because that helps you get paid. And then the other thing is brand positioning. So you want to make sure that you position the value of what you bring to the table. So when you book me to speak, at the end of this workshop, your church, the students at your college will be able to do A, B, and C. So you want to be able to identify some specific tangible results. Like, I can't tell you guys how often like people get this wrong. They go super general. I'm gonna change your life, I'm gonna help you with your finance. Like, break it down. It needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable. We need to know that we've hit that target by the end of the workshop. So make sure that you make that clear. Articulate the value of like why it matters, right? So if someone is able to get life insurance and they didn't know how they were going to bury their family, but now as a result of your workshop, them learning like key strategies on how they can get policies so that they're, when it is time to transition, they're set up properly. I'm here in Florida right now for a funeral for a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't anticipate that this was happening. Like, sometimes things come out of nowhere. And so I think if you can articulate your message in a way that people understand why it matters, like really bring it home to that organization, like why it matters, that makes a difference.
Wow, that's listen, if y'all just got some of the gems she just dropped about the different steps in detail, I hope y'all got that. Give me a 3 in the chat if this was helpful, what she just said, because I want to make sure you're clear. And if you're not, so we can always repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
So that I want you to make sure you're crystal clear, because what she just said, it brand positioning, right? To look like a speaker. She also spoke about thank y'all for those threes that are coming in. Thank y'all for the threes that are coming in. She also spoke about being able to make sure that you get a video of your speech so you can edit it and use it next time for the next speaking engagement. I remember when I was hired to host an event, they're like, hey, do you have videos of yourself speaking? So they lived, because they didn't know me, they didn't know who I was, so they asked for videos. And thank God I because I had took couch to podium course. Because listen, they don't know.
Yes.
They see the story, but they don't know the behind the scene. I'm telling
Come
you. All
on,
right.
talk
So
about it.
because I took Dr. Laura Lewis membership, she had a membership course, and I took that course. I knew exactly brand positioning. I knew exactly what to do. And I know you have a conference coming up. We're going to touch on that for a little bit. But how many times? I mean, am I the only one that's going back to some places that you spoke at and you're like, oh, hey, I should have asked for that video. How many y'all give me a 20 chat if that was you? Like, man, I should have went back and asked them for that video, and I didn't do that, But even with that too, I think, and let's be clear, we're not talking about a polished video. You can ask somebody, because everything is branding. Everything always be marketing. Whenever I'm at an event, I'm like, hey, stand up, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, because everything is always be marketing. So even having somebody hold your phone while you're speaking and get some clips of it, tell us how using that can leverage that later on. Those type doing things like that.
Yeah, especially like when we're talking about someone like an organization writing a big check for you to speak, like the person that you may be on the phone with is gonna have to go to a panel of people and say, like, why is it Sherry? Why is it Felicia that we need to have at this upcoming like event? And so for them to have like a nice like video, it doesn't have to be like super professional. I started off with I had did a like photo shoot, I think on Groupon for like $10. And that's where I started. And I had a phone and I was like on the phone calling, like having conversations with people. That's a real big part of it. It's just like when you see people on stage and you're like, how did they end up speaking there? They had a conversation with someone and they said, hey, like this is what I can do, and this is what my rate would be for that. And then also ask about budget, like what's your budget for bringing in speakers for this event? Ask about it. Don't assume, like don't wait for the other person to like bring it up. Ask.
And in something you said, I remember you and I was at Epic Woman conference
Mm-hmm.
in Atlanta, and I
Yeah.
mean in Dallas. Yeah, yeah, I speak so well. So many places I gotta keep them up. And I remember you were talking about you were intentional, and I think what makes you successful, because I don't want people walk away from this conversation thinking you didn't do the behind the scene work.
Yeah.
You were intentional, because I think it's important that when you're in the space and you're trying to get your message of what you do to different platforms or to people in person, is about being super intentional. And I remember you were saying about a Christmas and you were calling during Christmas time. Do you remember that? Trying to
Yes.
kind of pitch yourself to people. So let's talk about, and let's be clear, nowadays it's not like it was harder back then, right? Now the
Mm-hmm.
internet makes you more popular and people can know who you are. But let's talk about the behind the scenes of calling people and saying, hey, are you looking for speakers? Because
Yeah.
sometimes my mom used to say, closed mouth don't get fed. And people
Hello,
would know
mama.
that there's
Yeah.
an event. And hey, pitch yourself. April, my master coach, used to say, shoot your shot. Like, just shoot your shot. What they're going to do is say no, right? So shoot your shot. So let's talk about how people can shoot their shot when it comes to getting booked in more stages.
So I think one thing is dedicate time towards it. Like, is it the time is just not gonna miraculously come? Like, put the time on your calendar. Like, let's say you start with 2 to 5 hours a week, and that's your time for having conversations with people about speaking. I just went to this vending event like a couple weeks ago, and I'm hearing the speaker, and I'm like, they need to have me here. Like, I don't know why they haven't like come down my door, but like, I need to let them know that they should have me. So I'm at the event, I'm vending, I'm just like at my table, like vending, letting people know about like speaking and stuff. And so then I was like, who is like the person that's organizing this? And so they said, okay, it's this person. So I just walked up to him and I was like, okay, I can speak on this, and this is going to help your people here by this. And they said, okay. The guy said, okay, well, talk to this lady. She's the person that handles all of the booking. So we had a conversation, and speaking engagement booked just like that. Like, don't
Wow.
overcomplicate it. Have
Wow.
enrollment conversations. Sometimes my enrollment conversations are in person. Sometimes my enrollment conversations are over the phone. It's via email. It's through social media. But also, you want to make sure that you follow up. So don't think that, okay, I had like that happened with the vending event where I did it and it booked a speaking engagement right then. But sometimes I'm nurturing a relationship over time, right?
Yes.
Like, sometimes it's not instant. Like, I talk and then the check comes like the next week. Sometimes it's just really building a relationship, saying like, hey, this is what I can speak on, following up with them, connecting with them on LinkedIn, sending them messages of like, hey, I see that this is what you are working on. Like, here's a resource that can support you. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It really is building relationships.
So let me move into that part, right? Because I hear people say, I would never pay other people to speak on their stage. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that before. What do you believe, as a person who will teach people how to speak, get booked to speak on stage? What would you say? How do you believe when you hear people say, I don't want to get, I'm not paying anybody to speak on the stage? What would you say about that?
I think that there are many different ways to get paid, right?
Mhm.
Like, sometimes I'll get paid on the front end, and sometimes I'll get paid on the back end. And honey, sometimes that check on the back end is sweet.
So
So
let's
let
talk
me
about
tell
the
you how.
back end, because I think I need to listen. If y'all want to hear about the back end, y'all, she about to tell y'all about the back end. If you have an event coming up, if you have your own event coming up, y'all need to know all of this, right? Because here's the thing, here's the thing, Dr. Lewis. So I would hear people say, "Hey, she, I'm having an event." I just literally spoke to somebody the other day. She said, "Hey, I'm having an event," and I said, "Oh, great. What's your upsell?" I'm like, Sherry, or what's your back end, or what's the thing that you have? And like, Sherry, I'm like, yeah, you need a Sherry. So, but I hear it all the time. Or I've had people who said they host conferences and they never thought about the back end or a different thing. So let's talk about, y'all. This about to get juicy. Go ahead
It's
again. Give me
about
a
to
five
get
in the chat. We about to
juicy.
drop some back end strategy and nuggets for y'all. Drop the 5 in the chat so we can move on from here and hear about listen. And before you tell us the back end strategy, let me share with y'all this. So you're looking at Dr. Laura Lewis, and you're like, how did she even come in here talking with Sherry? Let's be clear. And I've always told this, I said this before in our live video that we did back in Dallas.
Yeah.
I literally flew to Atlanta
Yeah.
at her workshop. Right now, y'all see me on these stages and all this stuff. I invested,
Yeah.
keyword, invested in myself, flew for one day, flew all the way
Yeah.
in just for one day to learn from her workshop about speaking on stage. Now, she's not having a workshop today, so we're not selling the workshop or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
my point here is this is how intentional I was about,
Yeah.
listen, I know I can speak on stage. So I need to know
Mhm.
the back ends, right? So it was raining you remember that
It
day?
was raining.
It
I
was
remember that
raining that
day.
day.
Yes.
Yes, it was raining that day, but I invested in her boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
got on a plane, got in an Uber, flew there, flew back. It literally, it was like crazy. But the point here is I was hungry to
Yeah.
learn, and it's all now paying off because I
Mm-hmm.
literally invested in learning how to literally not just speak on stage, but engage your crowd and making sure that your crowd, like you said, like you just said, get it simple so they can understand what you're what being told. Because there are times people speak on stage, you're like, oh my God, please hurry and get off.
Right.
So we see some five coming in, because we're going to talk about the back end, because this is what y'all need to know about. Because I hear people say all the time, I'm not paying anybody to speak on their stage because you don't know strategy and you don't know systems and you don't know the strategies. And she's gonna give you the strategy of how to get paid all different ways. That's why we came for y'all. Give me more 5 in the chat if you agree with this. Go ahead, Dr. Laura Lewis.
So when you are using this strategy about getting paid on the back end, there are a couple things that you need to be clear about. One, you need to be clear about is who is in the room. Who is in the room and how many people are in the room, because that's how you predict your revenue. So say, for example, you know that it's going to be 100 people in the room and they're your target market. Like, ask questions about like what are their pain points, what is the thing that they're struggling with, because this strategy only works if it's your target market. If it's babies and you talk to adults, then no. If it's teenagers and you got a marriage seminar, like that's not gonna work. So make sure that it's your target market. So ask questions like when you are negotiating, right? So then you know it's your target market, you know how many people are in the room, and you know what your high-end program is going to be. So say your high-end program is like $4,000 and you know, okay, this is what I'm going to be promoting at the end of this talk that I'm going to give. You make sure that there are contracts in place, right? Like you don't want to just go out there willy-nilly, like say like, hey, can I share about my program? Can I share about like my products and services? And then you want to also have testimonials seated into the talk. Don't go in there and teach for 45 minutes and then at the end say, oh, and by the way, I have this thing. Like, no, like share about like, well, when I was working with Sherry was able to teach me how to live stream like a boss. Like share about like the results that you get. Mm-hmm. And then you want to have time where you're leading into sharing your story, sharing like what was the pivotal moment for me. I call that the hero journey, where things started to shift, because you want to connect with your audience on an emotional level. And that's why I say like selling is emotional. When you are connecting with your audience and they get that you understand what they're going through, then it makes it easier for them to make a buying decision. So those are some of the things that you want to keep in mind when it comes to this type of agreement where you're making your money on the back end. And then you want to have your forms out there ready to go, like ready for people to sign up. You want to have people at the back of the room to have enrollment conversations. And you want to make sure that those people are trained. In some cases, I'll do my own like enrollment conversations at the end of the event, or you can have people. I've done both.
Another thing, if I can echo what you said, one of the thing is, as a speaker, you have to make sure that you're staying in control of your audience as well, because during the speaking engagement and when it gets good, everyone is asking you a question. So if you hold your questions towards the end, so they can, because you may even answer those questions as you go, so because then you're off on the flow, right? Because I do believe that there's a flow, right? I do believe that you're connecting, and then you're really and then you have your close in and all that. I really think that there's a flow to it. But I think it's important to understand that you're in control. And another thing about, I want to add to what you said, is that there's getting paid to speak, like paid to speak on someone else's stage. You just said make sure it's your ideal client that's in those audience, because if your ideal client, you may pay $1,000 to speak on somebody's stage, but the someone in the audience is paying you 4,000. You know what I'm saying? Or 3 people in the audience paying you 4,000. So I think doing your due diligence and your homework of how many people, because it's a numbers game, right? Of how many people. And if it's not your ideal client, then or if it's client with a mixture of different people, then it may not work. So if that's helpful, again, guys, give me a high 5 in the chat if that was helping. If you have any questions for her, if you have any questions for the beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis, go ahead and drop in the chat. If you're just joining me, We are talking about how to be booked and busy and get paid to speak on stage, your book more stages. We're talking about how to use the power of speaking in person or speaking online. We're just literally just speaking, period. How to use that as a lead magnet, how to use it as cash flow strategy to be able to get your message of your expertise out there into the marketplace for your ideal client to find you. Now, we just kind of wrapped up how to get, how to sponsor events to get your ideal client. Now, how do you feel about a person speaking for free? Let's touch on that, right? Because I remember when I first started, honey, I did a whole bunch of free stuff, right, to get my name out there. So, what's your opinion now about when you first start not charging or charging? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's important to get your reps in. I think it's important to always be cultivating your craft, right? Like you want to develop. This is a skill set that you want to continue to develop. And then you need things like social proof. So social proof could be like a flyer of a place that you've spoken. And then I will take that flyer and I will post it on social media, and I will say like, just got finished speaking on 3 ways that you can increase your cash flow through speaking. And if you're looking for a speaker that can teach on ABC topic, then I'd love to have a conversation with you. Insert phone number, email address. So speaking begets more speaking. The more you speak, the more you speak.
Oh, one more time. The more you speak, I love that. I love that. So if I'm hearing you clearly, what you're pretty much saying is, in order to get speaking and in order to get booked on stage, it's okay to do free events to get your reps in, to condition you to be comfortable in speaking on stage. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that correct? Now, I start off in this free space too, so I understand that as well. So
to this day, I still do like free speaking opportunities. Like to this day, it's not something that I'm just like, oh no, I'm never gonna speak for free. Like I still do, and it's you can. There's always money circulating. I think that's what I really want people to understand. Like even when you're speaking for free, it's not really totally free, because it's gonna be opportunity. Like I can't tell you like how many times like I've gotten off stage and someone has like came up to me and like, I want to work with you. Like, how can I work with you? I mean, there's a time when I didn't even offer anything, and I got off stage and they was like, okay, I need you in my life. And then I've done a ton of media like ABC, NBC, Wall Street Journal, Cosmopolitan. And so those are free mediums, but the type of exposure that I've gotten as a result of like being featured in ABC, it's been expansive. So it's free in a sense, but I get paid on the back end.
Ooh, so it's not really free. Yeah, but it's not really free. So I think what happened is just knowing the strategies, right?
Yes.
I think what happened is just knowing the strategy, y'all. And one of the things I asked y'all to do earlier was go ahead and tell us what is the thing, what is the title or the expertise that you can speak on beyond a shadow of doubt, like it inside and out. Hey Francesca, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Hey Nikki, thank you for joining us. We appreciate the love. Thank y'all for joining us. We're here talking about how to get booked on stage and get paid, baby. The beautiful Dr. Laura Lewis is in the house. We're talking about free speaking engagement, how we lead to the money from doing free speaking engagement. And also we're talking about how to maybe sponsor someone to be on their stage, and also building relationships. So if you're paying attention, we gave y'all 3 ways of different ways how you can come about building your audience so your ideal client, again, you can become findable so the ideal client can find you, but also creating cash flow at the same time. I did not want you to miss that. If you have questions, make sure that you she said, get paid, baby. Yes, Nikki.
Hey, baby.
Book on stage and paid. I love it. And because I wanted to talk with you about that, because what is the back end work, self work, mindset work. Because as a financial life coach, I gotta talk about a mindset piece. What
Yes.
is the mindset back end work that a person can do when it comes to getting in their aura before they go speak? Because I know a lot of people are like, I'm shy, I don't want to speak, and so on and so. They want to, but their confidence level is not there. So let's talk about that for a little bit before we go into your couch to podium. Let's talk about that for a little bit. How do you get the introvert or the people? How many of y'all are shy? Am I the only one? Well, I'm not shy. Am I the only one? Give me a 4 in the chat. Like Sherry, that's me. 4 or more, that's me. I'm super shy. I hate speaking. I get nervous. I get anxiety. I get panic attacks. Give me a 4 in the chat if I'm talking about you, or give me a 6 in the chat. Like, girl, no, bring it. I will speak on anybody's stage. I'm ready to go. So give me a 4 if that's you, or give me a 6. Like, no, baby, let's bring it. What stage you got? Let's do this. Which one are you? Are you a 4? Are you a 5? Go ahead and I'm sorry, or 6. Go ahead. I got a whole bunch of 4s coming in. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I asked this question. Oh my goodness, I have a whole bunch of 4s coming in. Yeah, wow. That's amazing. I didn't even think that. So let's talk about confidence, honey.
Sure.
Confidence is showing up.
So a couple areas that confidence shows up in speaking. One area is non-marketing, right? Like, you gifted, you talented, but you are not stepping fully in your gifts. You haven't told anybody you a speaker. You haven't like reached out to any organizations and said, like, hey, this is what I do and I'm dope at it. So you need to bring me in, right? So that's one area that confidence can show up in. And so we have to do that inner work, whether it's seeing a therapist or seeing a mindset coach, and just saying like, okay, what is my block? Where is my block? So it could be around just doing marketing, period, right? And then for some people, and I was just talking to my client Chris today about like setting her rate to speak, and she was like, well, how do I get into the money conversation? Because I feel like I'm flowing, I feel like we vibing, I feel like we connecting with the corporation, and then when it comes to the money, I start to choke. And the reality is, like, when it comes to like anxiety, when it comes to like fear and nervousness, the only way to get over it is just to do it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get at it. And even to this day, like right now for myself, like every time the number goes up, like that same nervousness comes back. It's like, okay, I'm good. I'm good at 3,000. I'm good at 10,000. And then when the number goes up, then it's just like, oh my goodness, like, can I really? Impossible. All of that comes up. So you may have built up the I feel like we have energetic minimums and energetic maximums. So an energetic maximum is like, okay, I'm okay with this number, but then when I go up to that number, that's when my heart starts to tremble a little bit.
When you say number, you're talking about the check. You're talking about the coins, y'all. We're talking about the check. We're talking about the check. Okay.
Yes,
with these numbers.
Yes, and so know that in yourself, know what is the number that I started to get squeamish at, right? And then once you practice like saying it, this is the rate, my fee for this is, then okay, you get comfortable at that rate and keep going up, and just know that those same like feelings that'll come up at the next number, but you're okay, you're gonna push through and you're going to say the number. So that's one area that it shows up in, is confidence around the number. And then another area is negotiating, right? So it's not just like I say the number and then I'm out, but it's negotiating, because it may be other things that are of value that you can negotiate. But sometimes we're scared and we're like, okay, whatever you said, like that'll work. No, negotiate, and know that everything is negotiable.
Y'all, that was so good, y'all. She said, know that everything is negotiable. Negotiate. Now, let me help y'all. Let me just add more stuff to what she just said, because when I started charging, when it becomes super expensive for me, right? Yeah. So you got to really, I literally, shout out to CEO Chicks, Colleen. I was just speaking at their event yesterday, and was it yesterday? Oh God. Saturday, Vampire. I was speaking at their Vampire event. And one of the things I was telling these ladies, I was telling them the same thing. I said, listen, when I add up the cost of leaving my son, and I add up the cost of the flight and hotels, out of the cost of the Uber and the food and the outfits and this, all of that cost. And then for me, most of the time, people know me for hosting events. That's one of the biggest things I'm known for. So by the time the event is over, I'm exhausted because I gave everybody all I got. Right, get the entire crowd of all I got. Get ready to eat. Everything is closed. Guys, everything is closed, and I'm like, oh Lord, you know. So when you start adding up the cost of the expenses, and again, first of all, that's after you have positioned yourself as a speaker. I don't host plenty of events to know that I'm the queen of hosting, right?
Yes.
So that's afterwards, y'all. You get a crawl before you walk. But when I started adding up the cost, and I'm like, oh no, we got to do some type of negotiation here. Yeah. And because every time you leave your family, it's not just you're leaving, you know. So I really want the people who are thinking about charging or thinking about they're afraid to charge. This conversation was for you, because when you started thinking about and I'm leaving my business for a day, that means I'm not attending to my business. That means you're not attending to your own business. So when you're thinking about how much it's going to cost you, and I know I have position myself and presented myself in all the stages. So this is after you have built your brand and your credibility. Let me say that, right? Let me say that, because I don't want y'all turning down good stuff.
You're right.
So I know that the importance of that. I was telling the ladies yesterday, Sarah on Fempreneur, I said, you have to really, if you look at your expense report of being able to say yes to something, it will make you have a price next to it, like saying yes to it. And they don't even have to be speaking engagement. It's so important. When you say yes, there's a cost to saying yes. There's a cost to making sure that you're saying yes to things that is in alignment with you. Because when I say yes to showing up on any one stage, that means I got to find out who's going to take care of Dylan. I got to find out who's going to pick him up from school. I got to who's going to cover my group, my ladies, and while I'm gone. So you got to. So when you start adding up all those things of you saying yes and what's you're not saying neglecting, but what you can't be doing at that time. Trust me, it will make you put she said your ROI. Yes,
honey.
ROI.
Turn on investment.
That right after that, I was like, oh no, favors is over. So yeah, so it's after all that, you're like, okay, and then you got to make sure that the room, it makes sense. Like, do you still do free if it makes sense? Yeah, she said, like the guy at the auction. Yes, Queen. Hey, Libra is in the house. Libra is in the house. Okay, so what do you want to? So if how do I know, Dr. Laura, if it's time for me to start charging, or if it's time for me to really say, no, let me start doing some stuff for free? How do I know when? And I know that each person is different, but how do I know when to say yes to this because it makes sense, or when to say no, or what are some words or what are some questions I need to ask before saying yes to speaking engagement?
You want to get comfortable like with your speech. Like, you don't want to like charge and you haven't really like ironed out your messaging. You don't want to like charge on someone else's dime where you're still trying to figure out like, well, what am I even talking about? Like, so first get clear about like your messaging, get clear about your branding. And then once you're clear about your messaging, your branding, your target market, then you can start charging. I don't think you need to speak forever, you know, for free. You know, you can, it doesn't have to be like you've spoken for years and years and years and then you start charging. But you've gotten 2-3 great talks in, you've gotten a video reel, you've gotten some professional headshots, because those are some of the main things that people ask me for. Like when they
real professional head, and not real like Instagram reel.
Oh, no. Let me talk about what is a video reel. So when I say real, I mean like 2 minutes, not over 2 minutes. Nobody wants to listen to your 45 minutes talk. Like, niche it down to 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, like real high level, like when the energy is high in the room, like that's the video that you want. And then you want some testimonials of people who said, like, I booked Dr. Sherry and she slayed the stage. If you need a host for your event, you need to book Dr. Sherry, right? Like, those are some having the testimonials. That's what you want to make sure that you have a part of your reel. So those are some of the main components of a reel, 1 to 2 minutes at the most.
I love it. So y'all getting that? So what she's saying is you need to have some type of reel, and it's a video, and you're editing a video of different speeches that you've done and just kind of become your reel. And then when somebody says, "Hey, I want to book you," then you send them the reel, and just the reel gives you that credibility that
Yes.
you should be paid to speak, right? Just having the reel book that credibility. And let me tell y'all something. When you speak someplace, you're over here. I was a YouTube girl looking like, where did I speak again? I don't, and you never know where that person is going to ask for it. So every speaking engagement, y'all, I don't care if you're bothering somebody in the audience. I don't care if they're a stranger. Ask them, can they just clip you for 5 seconds off a speech so you can use that and put it all together, even if you're balling on the budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 second balling on a budget. Now, y'all, I know we only had 1 hour to. We talk about getting paid to speak. We talk about should you say yes to pay for paid sponsorship events. Should you say yes or no when it comes to speaking for free? We touch on that. We touch on making sure that you have a reel. We touch on creating you should look like a speaker. What is that? What do you mean about Dr. Laura Lewis? What does a look like a speaker means? What does that mean?
So some of you may have like Gmail as like your professional email account, like get your domain name, like make sure that your stuff is like coming together, like I'm doing real business here. The same like with your website, like start really getting those brand assets. And when you send in your picture, like look like your picture. Like don't use a picture from 1989. Let's get some updated headshots. All of those things are what when I say like look like, like you're a professional speaker, that's what I mean.
So updated headshots. The real, I think, will create over time, right? So as
Mm-hmm.
they do different speaking engagement, it can take clips. Is that what I'm hearing? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So and then having a speaker sheet, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
tell
mean,
us.
I feel like, okay, so what is a speaker sheet? A speaker sheet is a bio, a few testimonials of you speaking, your logos of places that you've spoken before. You may not have this like coming out the gate. So your signature talk. I like to have like maybe 2 or 3 signature talks on the speaker sheet. Those are some things that like as you're starting to get into a place where okay, I'm charging for this, those are some things I'd like for you to have.
Wow, y'all, she done gave us everything today. Real, speaker sheet, bio, headshot, look like a speaker, ask them who is in the room, ask them before you negotiate, ask for the money, right? How to get paid, even if the engagement was free, even if the speaker was
Yeah.
free, how you can make your money on the back end by creating a lead magnet. I mean, she dropped everything today, y'all. Oh my goodness. Now I know we only have 1 hour. So I had to come in here and do as fast as I can, a quick, but Dr. Laura Lewis has a couch to podium speaking event that's coming up. Can you tell us
Mhm.
more about it? Because all of the stuff that we just get, that's what the conference is going to be about, breaking it down more in detail. Can you tell us more about your conference that's coming up in time and date?
Absolutely. So it's October 21st and 22nd. If anything that I've said has resonated with you and you know you have a message and you are ready to get paid to speak, but maybe you struggle with like your messaging, maybe you struggle with positioning, maybe you are constantly being asked to speak for free and you don't know, well, how do I even have the conversation about getting paid? Well, I know that this is the event for you because when people get around me, their confidence increases, their mindset shifts, your whole life changes. Like when people get into my space, it's something that shifts in those environments. So I want to invite you to come to the Couch to Podium conference if you are ready to step into your next level. If you want this upcoming year to look different than last year, you know you was playing small last year and you ready for something different,
I
I
love
want to
it.
see you there.
Okay, so what is the date, and can you drop it also in the chat for the people inside of the comments so they can also have the link to your conferences coming up. And so guys, so I want to talk a little bit about that. So Couch to Podium is Dr. Laura Lewis brand, and she teach professional professionals how to speak on stage. That's literally like what she does. And one of the thing is speaking on stage, and it's not just speaking on stage. What she just said, she says, asking for the money, using a lead magnet to lead people, as she's dropping the link right now, using the lead magnet to lead people so you can follow up with them later on. She also talks about how do you have the conversation when it comes to speaking. And if you're saying, Sherry, I remember hearing this word, these exact thing you just said. I remember hearing you giving the world this invite. And I'm like, oh, I know I can speak. I need to go to this event. Remember, I just said I went to the boot camp, and I was like, okay, I am coming to Atlanta. I am coming to Atlanta. And I literally came, and y'all, I did everything she told me to do. Like, I literally did everything she told me to do. She had a little trick where she would find her, if use Eventbrite to get speakers.
Yes.
All this thing,
It works.
Yes, boo. That's when you're coachable.
Yes. And you are coachable. You did the work. You made it happen. And that's why I just love working with you, because you really put things into action.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because I quickly realized that you can spend money on Facebook ads to buy leads. But even with the leads, they're still not understanding you. It's not humanized, right? It's not humanized. You can go the organic way as doing TikTok dance and posting on social media. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when we're not launching, that's really what we're doing. But the fastest way, I think, in my opinion, to be able to build your audience so you can always be able to create consistent cash flow, and people know I love my CPR, consistent, predictable revenue, is to be able to book your stages, being able to book on stages. And I think the fact that you're having a conference, and guess who's hosting the conference? Yeah, it's your girl, Sherry Summers. So I am excited to be part of this amazing conference. And when her and I was having a conversation, I was like, girl, hold on. I have a group. I have a group of financial professionals, and I want to share this information with them, because most of them I've met basically from some speaking at different events. So I want to be able to show them there's another way. And speaking, I think speaking engagements open up travel. Like you said, I've been in so many different places. I remember during the pandemic, I was supposed to fly to the Philippines to speak, and pandemic ruined that. You know what I'm saying? But it just, when you decide to add speaking as another stream of income to your business, whether you're hosting, whether you're speaking, same thing, whether you're speaking, it open up another, not just revenue stream, but another door for you to travel and see and truly see the world. So I just wanted to bring you on here. So, okay. All right. So go ahead and drop the link. I don't know if you had the opportunity to do that yet.
Yeah, I did drop it in the chat. It says chat
in the comment. Post in the comment section. And I also want you to be able to tell us more about where it's going to be held and all that good stuff.
Okay, so it's going to be at the Westin in Buckhead. It's such a beautiful hotel, and I think the biggest part of this is being in the space with other people who believe in you, because that's the game changer. Like when you're around other people that believe in your vision, that are holding space for your vision for your life, like that's when things change. And so I want to invite you to register for the Couch to Podium conference. We have a VIP day, which is gonna be amazing. Oh my gosh, the VIP day is worth everything, every penny of it. So I'm inviting, I think we have like 5 spots left for VIP, and you will be in my home on the day before the conference. You're gonna get a photo shoot that's included in the VIP day. So for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, like I need photos and I need to get like my branding together, I got you, boo. I got you.
Wait, hold up. You ain't shared this part with me. Hold up. So we're talking about you need reel, and we're talking about you need headshot, and we're talking about you need photo shoot, and we're talking about you need branding. And then you tell me that you will be providing all of that in the VIP. Like I did not know that at all. And see, okay, that's what I call a conference. Like when you're able to go
Mhm.
somewhere and not just get word, but take actionable step when you leave. And that is, those are the most, to me, are the most beneficial thing, because you don't have to come home and take action and then you have
Yes.
something else to your list that you know you're not going to do, right?
Come on,
So
somebody.
come
Like,
on,
who's
somebody.
been
Well,
there where you went, now you got this whole to-do list of like, okay, I need to do this. No, we get stuff done. For those of you who are regular VIP, I'm gonna actually like be on the phone with you, having conversations with organizers with you. So you don't we taking the guesswork out of this thing. Now,
shut
y'all, I gotta run
up.
into my couch to podium session at this hour, but make sure that you register. I will see you guys there. And just shout out to y'all's coach, because y'all's coach is awesome.
Listen, but listen, because we over here talking about you need a headshot, you need, and you're like, oh no, we're gonna do that in VIP.
I
Like,
got
like
you.
what?
I got you.
Like, wow, oh my God.
Headshots covered.
Listen, I've talked to you so many times, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what I mean. Like, okay, y'all, I don't think y'all get this, because I want y'all to get it. If you're inside of my group, and if you're not inside of I don't know why you're not inside of the group, but you got to, because these are the guest speakers that we bring in for our group. So if you're not in a group, I don't know what's wrong with you. Get your life and make sure you go to joincherry.com to make sure that you're inside our group, because we are talking about how to get 10, 20, 30,000 dollars to become a speaker at events. And then we're talking about, oh, you need headshots, oh, you need reel, oh, you need a speaker sheet. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna provide these things, not the reel, let me be clear on that, but I'm
Right.
gonna provide these headshots, I'm gonna provide this photo shoot in VIP. And I'm like, wow, how productive that you leave with
Yeah.
the actionable stuff. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. You got to go back inside of my group and drop this link, because it was like so super crazy. I think some of you guys, if you don't see it and you want the link, just say me in the chat, me
Say me
chat,
in the chat.
and me in the chat. I will make sure that my team make sure they get the link to the couch to podium, because this is what we do inside of our group. But anyways, Dr. Laura Lewis, I'm not going to hold you up anymore, because I'm getting excited, because I didn't know nothing about this VIP part. You're
All
like,
right,
hey,
my
when are you
love.
coming? You're like, when are you coming in? I'm like, hold on, I know it's VIP. I want to come. Like, hold on, I changed my flight now. So I love it. And to your house too. We know there's some good food up in
We're
there.
gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna
I
feed you,
love it. I love it. All right. So before we hop off, any final words you want to say to everyone that is listening?
I just want to say to you guys that you have a gift. You have a precious gift inside of you that we are about to give birth to. It's time to step into your next level. You want more, I got more for you. So let's together walk into this next stage in your life.
I love it. Together walk into this next. And last, what can they expect when it comes to this conference? What are some things they can expect?
When you come to this conference, prepare to walk away with clarity about your message, confidence about asking for your rate, and knowing the process for booking speaking engagements. Because I was able to give you guys like a snippet and it was good, but just know that it's a whole plate here for you on the systematic process for booking speaking engagements, knowing how to write a pitch, right? Like that, it's steps that go into how to write a pitch. It's steps that goes into like how to follow up after you have an initial conversation with the organizer. So I got you. I
I
got
love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. If you're wondering why we're doing this tonight, inside of our group, go to joinsherry.com. Inside of our group for financial professional and life insurance agent, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we bring you exactly things like this. We give you amazing 6 and 7 figure speakers and let them share their expertise with you, so you're able to do 3 things: build your audience, build your credibility, and create cash flow. Very, very simple. Our job pretty much is to help you to be able to leverage community in high value conversations so you can what? Build cash flow. It has been my pleasure. Dr. Laura Lewis, thank you again. I cannot wait to
you.
see you
I
at
can't
the
wait
podium.
to.
I cannot wait to host this amazing event, because I think speaking at different, or just speaking period, adding that to my business has really changed my life and helped me to connect with people and who I wouldn't necessarily get to reach on social media. So if you guys are looking to use speaking as part of your way of growing your business, get your book out there, sell your book, sell your business, sell your expertise, and you're feeling like, I don't know where to start. I know God gave me a message in my heart, and I just don't know how to use that message to touch other people. I think this is the event for you. All right, y'all, that's all I got. It's your girl, Sherry Summers. I am your financial life coach. Have an amazing day.